Hello everybody and welcome to this month's anime paint night. This anime paint night actually comes from the legendary Hayao Miyazaki film Princess Mononoke, and we are actually going to be painting San from that very movie. Yes, so inside your kit you'll have the line art, you'll also have your reference sheets, then in addition you'll have your watercolor palette if you requested one, and you'll also have a paintbrush inside. Do make sure that you've got some water for your watercolors and some paper towels, and let's get started. Alrighty, so to start out, we're going to actually do it with the skin tone, as per usual. We're going to go for the cream, and we're going to blend it with a little bit of the brown, like on the right side of the palette here, just to make sure. We've got a lot of the skin tone to do, so just take your time with it for sure. We usually like doing the skin tone because we liked getting that done before other details, like the different colors might bleed into the skin tone and everything like that. It's also a good base ground. So it's also maybe, at least for me, sometimes one of the more boring parts that we do for the coloring. And I like getting it out of the way. But while we're doing this, talking a little bit about Princess Mononoke, the movie. So, I saw Princess Mononoke one time, and I'll be the first one to tell you that I've only seen it one time. I saw it in, high school, early high school, but I promise you, that movie has not left my mind since my first watch of that movie. Do I remember all the details of the story? Absolutely not. No. But I remember the feeling that I got watching it. And I remember very specific scenes. It is a very strong piece of not only animation, but just as art as a whole. It is a commentary on man's relationship with nature and the balance that we strike with it. Well, us as humankind kind of have a tendency to take over things from Mother Nature and such, but Mother Nature doesn't really always have a say in the traditional sense, but nature usually has its way of trying to rebalance things. And I think Princess Mononoke does a very good job at presenting that commentary, and it's really special. So if you haven't seen Princess Mononoke, and you just decide to do this anime paint night because, you like to do it, first of all, I appreciate you doing that. But second, if you can, I'd recommend it. I will be most certainly transparent. It's a tough watch. There's definitely some content in it that's harder to watch for sure, but it's nothing too gratuitous. It uses its discomfort for the means of sharing the story and making it more effective. So if you're willing to stomach it, and there's a lot there that you will enjoy for sure, but there are some things that you might, harder to swallow. If you can do that, it's definitely a worthwhile watch for sure. But we'll talk a little bit more about that in our next session because we are done with our skin tone. Yes, indeed. Okay. See you soon. When I was doing the line art for this specific anime paint night, I was like, man, do I show her whole face and just opt not to bring the mask? Or do I do the masked version of her? And I was just like, I want to do both because her eyes are so strong and so alert. And I love the markings on her face. So I was like, yeah, I want to make sure I do that. But I also love the mask. So I tried to do a thing where she's holding the mask and pulling it down while also wielding her knife that I do not remember her having at all. But I think it worked out pretty well, and I hope you enjoy it as well. So as you can see, we're going towards the red to do the markings on her face and also the mask. I really enjoy the visual design of San. I do wish I could have captured the necklace that has like the fangs and the earrings and stuff like that. I really wish I could do that, but unfortunately, just wasn't in the space for the time being. But it's totally all right. Now, San, most certainly, it's not necessarily just the story of San. Matter of fact, she's not the first character we even see in this movie. This movie, without giving too much spoilers, actually has a lot of characters in it that actually are meaningful and impactful to the story. They actually serve as a very good vehicle for pushing the story along, and it presents more conversations about the balance that humans have with nature and trying to like maintain that peace and order. Some of the characters are very relatable in the sense of just like, I would say just on a human level, where it's just like, oh, yeah, these people are just trying to make their way in a harsh environment. But also in the same vein, we get the perspective of people who try to make their way in a harsh environment because of their knack for trying to survive. They might unintentionally, well, harm nature. And it has its consequences. There's consequences for every action, but most certainly when you trot upon nature. They even have a conversation about technological advancement and its effect on nature. I can definitely say weapons are definitely a talking point in this movie. Matter of fact, Hayao Miyazaki is no stranger to talking about war and its effect on not only humanity, but also the environment that humanity resides in. It is a theme that he is not shy of talking about. It's amazing that he has the knack for creating such beautiful and colorful and vibrant worlds while also still being like, but it's all like, not everything's all sunshine and rainbows, bucko. You know what I mean? He's no joke. And this movie for sure does not pull its punches in that regard. I'm really trying not to spoil anything. Maybe it's a good idea that I don't remember a lot of the story, but there are some parts that I just really want to talk about that I remember, but I shouldn't because, spoiler alert, absolutely want to respect you, regardless of if the movie's been out for a long time. Regardless, you don't know. It's totally fine. I think Hayao Miyazaki's Princess Mononoke is a piece of artwork that I hope more people get to see, especially in this day and age, like without getting too in depth and stuff like that. We have a lot of talk about like global warming and stuff like that, and preservation of forests and everything. This movie is pertinent even still today. So absolutely. Yeah, it's very cool. Now we're almost done with our mask. So again, you don't necessarily have to match everything that I'm doing in regards to coloring and stuff. You can feel free to make it however you'd like. But I'm trying to stick with as much as I can for my interpretation of the reference sheet. But yeah, so let's go ahead and move on to our next portion. Alrighty. So in this section, we are aiming towards working with the blue. So we're going to do a little bit of the details in regards to the armbands that are on the side of San's character design. Right here. This portion isn't going to take too long. In addition, we're going to work on the headband as well, which in some of the pictures, it kind of looks like it's also blue. So I'm just going to stick with that as well. I'm doing a lighter color here. You don't have to, but I just wanted to do that there for the little rhombus there. Then we're going to go for the blue up here for the headband, like so. I always get nervous when I choose a character that has like a white outfit. And I'm like, how is anyone supposed to paint this? You know what I mean? Like, is this shading? Is that all we're doing? No. San had a lot more to her character design than I realized. I really like the balance between her having like this almost angelic white base of like the dress and the earrings and the fang necklace, and then the mask, the little details on the knife, and the like the blue and like the headband and the armbands. It almost has like a red, white, and blue vibe and stuff like that. It actually brings it together. Those accents work really well. I didn't even notice that. I That's why I love doing anime paint night. Let's move on to our next portion. Next portion is one of my favorite portions of anime paint night, and it's working on the hair. I always like the hair, even though her hair isn't necessarily like some big old vibrant color. It's brown hair. It's brown messy hair, but like it's very good. It's very good. It's simple. It's a simple design, but it really opens the door for creativity, right? So we know that her hair is wild. So how can we convey that with how we paint? Do we go all in the same direction for our paint strokes, or do we keep it uniform? What happens if we add accents to the hair in addition to like, we have the hair in the line art and stuff like that, but what if we go past the lines, right? What if we make it more messy in regards to like painting outside of the lines and everything? It has the potential to be very free looking. And that's one of the reasons why I love doing the hair so much, because you have the opportunity to give your own anime paint night here, its own freedom, its own personality and stuff. You can have it uniform, but usually I like, especially if it's a character that's like, they're not worried about trying to keep the nicest hair and stuff like that. No, 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 no. She's hunting, she's protecting. So the hair, in my opinion, should reflect that. She has other things that she needs to be worrying about. And who's to say that it's not beautiful in its own right? It is natural, and it is hers. She was, again, not trying to spoil anything, but it's very clear that she hasn't been living with people and stuff like that. She's definitely, most certainly been living with nature and stuff like that. So I think the hair should have an opportunity to convey that fact about her and such. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I forgot to mention that, yeah, like she was not raised by the regular human world and stuff like that. For sure, for sure. Alrighty. Now, let's move on to our last portion. All right, well, I mean, at this point, you're pretty much done, but I wanted to go back and add some details, right? I wanted to add blood, right? So it is a theme in the movie and stuff like that. It's not gratuitous, again, but blood is something that appears, and it's a good symbol. I do believe for a fact that she is a huntress, for sure. She is a protector of nature, and she has to do what she has to do to survive. So I think it would make sense if she had some like blood-stained fingers, fingernails, knife, and stuff like that. In addition, I'll add some shading, just to make sure I darken up things, just to add a little bit more depth to the photo as well. Photo, picture, what have you. Yes. But I really do hope you enjoyed this anime paint night, and I really hope you have an opportunity to watch Princess Mononoke. Or if you've already watched Princess Mononoke, watch it again. I kind of want to do the same thing. I want to, like, experience it again as an adult and such. It's been over a decade since I've seen it, but it's amazing how much it has stayed with me, even still. Adding some shading for the dress, also add a little bit of blood to the dress as well. One more thing, we have the shine near the knife. I'm gonna, you see those little like stars and stuff like that, so I'm gonna make those yellow. And then, of course, in the background, we have our leaves. And so our leaves, we'll color them nice and green. I'm gonna use the darker looking green that we have on the palette. Something about that palette. The darker green always to me seems like lighter than I'd ever expect it to, but it's totally fine. And then we'll use the other green to represent the wind. But that's pretty much it. Now, remember, our next Anime Paint Night is Kirby Part 3. So new copy abilities and a new Kirby to make. And we always usually do Kirby right before Iconicon. So you know that's coming up right around the corner. May 3rd from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. We look forward to seeing you. Thank you so much always for supporting Suffolk Public Libraries and Anime Paint Night. And I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.